jump onto Joshua Bardwell's videos because, hey, he's gonna help me, guide me through the setup process. So I'm gonna watch this Betaflight introductory type video of him. It's a little bit old, but regardless, I think it should still be relevant today. And then after that, I'll walk through this video where he binds and set up the receiver, and well, it looks like exactly what I need to do, right? So excellent, excellent. I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of research, and then I'll get back when I actually start physically doing it. Okay, so I've watched most of these Betaflight complete walkthrough videos. I must admit here at the end, it's very detailed, and I just don't need that detail currently. So I skipped this LED one, I skipped the servos one, and I skipped the filters one. I did look at these. Obviously, I'm not going to try to go ahead and adjust those things in detail right out of the gate. Most of these things are already set up, as far as I'm aware, in Betaflight by default. Um, so I'll stick with those first. But anyway, so I've walked through these. Now it's finally time to go through the other video. This one, Flywoo FlyLens setup video. Okay, so just to start fresh, connected. I'm not connected in Betaflight. Now I connect to it, and now you can see the firmware version and what it's connected to, and the configurator version, and you can see that when I move it, it moves on this little interface here. And the way I understood it is this reset just reorientates the quad as if, well, pointing away from us is the front. Okay, so I'm gonna try to bind it now, bind the controller. So the way it should be done, apparently, is on this little quadcopter, we've got a couple of lights. The red one's the power one, the blue one is, I can't remember what Joshua said. Anyway, and then this little green, don't know if you can see it, but there's uh, a tiny green, very quick flashing one. Probably a little bit tricky to see, but anyway, there's a tiny green flashing one there. Anyway, which is flashing really, really quickly. That's apparently Wi-Fi connection mode. But anyway, so I'm gonna unplug the power, plug it in, and then plug it in again. Now the green button light is only flashing flash, 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 flash. That's apparently the ELRS binding mode. Now I go to my remote, I turn it on, then I go to System, Express LRS, it opens up that menu there, I scroll down, and I click on Bind. Now it's changed there at the top to 0/250C, so it is now bound. So now, technically, if I go back to this, and I go to my receiver, things change. Ooh, and the quadcopter is changing in the little view as well. So guess what? We can fly. Okay, cool. So that just tells us that we've bound the controller. So that's a step forward. Okay, so what I should have done while I was doing that is just make sure that the correct channels are bound. So yeah, the throttle one is moving, the yaw is moving, so it is effectively, the channels are set up correctly, so I don't need to modify anything from this. Okay, so the next thing that we sort of checked was with the receiver that the range of my controller, my gimbals are roughly between 1,000, slightly less, but that's okay, and 2,000 and 1,000 and 2,000. So yeah, these are all within an expected range. They're slightly wider than what Joshua suggests, but that's okay. Look, it's slightly meaning 10, 15, 11, 12, that range. We can probably tune that later on if really required, but I think it's okay for what we're doing now. And next we're going to go to the modes and arm. Well, set what the little buttons and stuff does. So what I've done here is I've hidden the unused things, and this is just how it came set up. This aux1, you can see here that aux1 is just so happened to be this top left button, and you can see here that that yellow line flips between the two different zones or locations. When I swap that, and also here on the receiver tab, aux1 flips between 1,000 and 2,000 when you trigger that. And then obviously with arm, I want it to be armed when it's close to me, so I can technically swap that range to that location. So now when it's there, it's not armed. Armed, yeah, sure, I know it says it's disabled. If you, sorry, I just clicked save to save this configuration. I don't know if it actually saved. Anyway, when you go to the configuration, nope, ports, nope, setup, yes, here you can see that there's a couple of arming disable flags currently active, and that's why the arm mode tells me that no, you can't arm because there's other stuff wrong that we'll need to set up. So hopefully that's not too difficult to sort out. I'm literally just gonna follow Joshua's video. So we are deleting the horizon mode, adding angle mode. We're going to auto here with the switches. I'm going to use this SC switch to swap between the different flight modes. So when it's in that location, it's the typical acro mode. When it's in this location, I want it to be in angle mode. And then when it's in this location, I want it to be the turtle mode method, or turtle mode, not method, but anyway. So those are what I'm going to set these up. And the angle mode is now set to activate there, and as you can see, I've got the flip over after crash mode, which is turtle mode, set to activate in this range. Okay, so this might be ever so slightly exciting. I'm gonna test out this LED switch. So it's currently set that the LED, which is connected to aux4, should be on when this switch is in that default location. I don't particularly want it to be on by default, so I'm going to swap that over to that side. I'm going to press save. And now for us to actually test it, I need to connect a battery. I've not done this. I've not connected a battery yet, so this is going to be hopefully not too scary, and hopefully no smoke, magic smoke comes out. So what I'm going to do is I've not charged this. This is literally as I got it from, sorry, yeah, I haven't charged the battery. I've not received the other batteries yet. They're still stuck in the lovely Australian post somewhere. So I'm going to plug this in. It should be around about the 3.8, no, well, 3.85 volts per cell. And let's just see what happens. Please don't. Okay, so I'm gonna be on the safe side. Can't arm, but I'm still holding it down anyway. And can you see? Yes, you can, sort of. Let's move this over slightly. Yeah, so plugging this in. Yeah, ooh, the light came on. Okay, so why is the light on? The light should not be on. Okay, okay, cool. Ooh, lights. Yeah, nice. It actually looks kind of cool. Like, uh, I'm somewhat impressed. Let's quickly swap over the cameras. Boom, a light. Excellent. Okay, and we can turn it off. Okay, so I was wrong when I moved this that way. Save. Okay, so now it's off. We're on. Off and on. Excellent. Okay, now that we've got the battery, should we see? Yes, we see a battery voltage, so 7.62 volts. We see extra things here now, and the CPU temperature actually is quite high. It's actually going up. I don't like that. So I'm going to unplug this because I don't know what it's doing. Yep. All right, next thing we're going to enable is actually in the configurator where we've got this maximum arm angle set to 25. Effectively, if you don't know what it is, it prevents the quad from being armed if it's tilted more than 25 degrees in any direction. Basically a safety feature, but I believe this is not the most dangerous um, quad out there. So I want to be able to arm it when it's upside down. Let's say, for example, I crashed and I disarmed it to not burn stuff out, but then it's lying upside down perhaps or on its side. Then I'd like to be able to arm it again. So that's why I'm going to change that to 180 degrees so it can arm in effectively any direction or any orientation. And I had to save and reboot, and voila, it's that. Ooh, another thing I did, I named it Rooster. Not because my surname is Roos, but it's a rooster. Anyway, yeah, I think it's a fitting name for my quad. Plus, it's a relatively tiny rooster that, well, roosters don't really fly that well. I might reconsider later, but anyway, that's what I called it. Okay, so next, Joshua talks about the drone not having a beeper, but apparently this D-shot beacon configurator, these two can actually, well, it doesn't have a dedicated beeper, but I heard it beep. But anyway, so it uses the motors to beep. Um, so let's see if that actually works. Well, we know we heard a beep when we plugged it in. I don't know if it was actually the motors that did it, but if it was, that's kind of cool. Okay, so in order to enable or configure the beeper, yeah, sure, we specified it here and we save that. Let it just quickly reboot. Then we go back to the modes. We unhide this and then we go find the beeper. So here is the beeper and we add a range. It's currently set to auto. And I don't really know what I want to do, but let's go for, well, for now, just let's use the same as Joshua used. So this switch here, aux6, and by default it should not be. So if we press it, it's gonna beep. If we let go, it's not gonna beep. Let's save that. And now we can probably plug in a battery again to see if it actually works. We know it's not gonna fly off, so that's a good sign. So plugging it in, and now pressing the button. It works. And you can see the tiny propellers slightly moving. Let's see, there was in the configurator, there's different sounds that we could have used. So that's one. I don't know if you actually heard that. It's very soft. I'm gonna move my mic. Okay, and then the last one, 5, save and reboot. Yeah, okay, I don't like that one. I think number 2 sounded fine. Save and reboot. Yes, good enough. Okay, next it's just quickly looking at the OSD setup. I kept it relatively standard. I set it to HD here on the side, and I obviously have the Rooster's name, and then a couple of things, time, and so on. The other thing that I've added here, this is the flip mode to tell you which orientation the quad is rotated when it's flipped upside down, so that should show you what the shortest path is to getting it back upright. My low voltage type stuff, and if it's armed or disarmed, and then relative stick location to gimbal location to help with that. I've also modified the number of warnings, or the warnings shown, so it's showing all of these warnings. Post-flight statistics I modified slightly, that it's that. Okay, and now the next thing that I believe I should be doing is actually to connect the camera to the goggles. So for that I believe we can unplug the quad itself. Telemetry last. I don't know if you heard that, but the controller said telemetry last. Okay, that's fine. I'm assuming. I'm gonna plug this back in. That's on. Telemetry recovered. Telemetry recovered. Okay, so that's a good start. Now, let's turn on the goggles. This might be a little bit more fun because I'm not that familiar with it yet. Come on. Okay, and there is a display in there, yes. Now, I won't be able to show you directly what's going on there because I'm recording with my cell phone. Anyway, so now what I believe we should do is we should pick this up and press the bind button. Okay, so there's a flashing light now, so that's now in bind mode. Then I need to fiddle with the camera, which won't be able to show you. Come on, what's I've obviously got my glasses on, that's a problem, so I can't see. And so I need to bind to an O3 air unit. There's actually a select an aircraft, so wait until switch complete, linking remote controller to aircraft. Okay, that's not what I want to do. So, this is not going to work that well to show you what I'm doing. I need to find the bind button. Anyway, I'll figure that out now. Okay, I think what happened is I took too long to figure out how to connect up the DJI O4 unit to the goggles, so it heated up and probably shut down just to protect itself, because the red flashing light just keeps on blinking on the DJI O4 Pro unit. And then obviously the goggles, I'm assuming you should go to the switch menu and then connect to the DJI O4 Pro Air unit to be able to bind them. I'm going to quickly do a little bit of research to make sure that I've got that process correct. Okay, so I quickly watched this video to see if I can get that working. So apparently what we should be doing is we should be powering on the goggles like I did whenever that happens. Come on. Am I doing it right? Nope. Okay, powering those on. Then in that menu, in the DJI menu, navigate to, whenever it booted up completely, navigate to the status, switch O4 Air Unit Pro, and then you have that product selected, which I do. Okay, cool. Then I can go back, and it says in the back, in the bottom right of the view, connecting to the O4 Air Unit Pro. And then what I do is I power this on. As that's powering on, I need to make sure that this button should be red. And then you keep the power button on the the remote, the goggles plugged in until the power LED starts cycling, and now it should be connected. So now I should see that view, which I do. Yay! Okay, cool. I'm gonna see if I can quickly record this slightly for you. Now I'm just recording on my phone, and I'm gonna plug you into the DJI controller remote. Continuously mess this up. That should then, well, it looks like I'm being charged from my cell phone is being recharged from the head unit. Goggles, always mess up the naming for that. Anyway, and then it says now on the goggles, no image transmission available. Okay, so I don't know why this isn't. Oh, okay, cool. So it says here at the bottom right, it actually did show. Oh no, what am I doing? Go back. Okay, go back. Camera view. I don't know what camera view that is. Live streaming platforms, home. Connect to aircraft. Okay, now that I've got an aircraft connected to that, let's plug this back in. So I'm plugging in, sorry you can't see that, I'm plugging in the drone. Telemetry recovered. Connecting to aircraft. I don't know if I press this button now. Don't know why that's so white. Camera view. Oh, there we see. Ta-da! So guess what? You can see. You can see me. Nice. Okay, sweet. Anyway, and then obviously I can see that view in the goggles as well. And air unit low power state. That's a good thing so that it doesn't heat up too much. And yeah, I'm going to turn all of this off now because that's where I'm going to stop for now. Okay, so now the next step would be to figure out if I've got everything set up in such a way that I can actually arm it. I'm a little bit unsure because of the can I swap to this again? Yes. Well, I know it's not connected now, but the arm, not warnings, but those messages that we saw here. Let me just plug that in and quickly show you what I mean. Connecting to that, so if you go to setup, I'm talking about these system info things. So RX failsafe, yes, so that's good. The MSP connection, okay, so it's because that's that. And then this D-shot telemetry is enabled, but one or more ESCs are not supplying the D-shot telemetry. Okay, so that, let's see if I plug the power in, if that goes away, because if it does, then it means I should be able to arm the drone. Yes, it does. Okay, so I can't arm it while I'm plugged into the MSP, but and then this will, if I turn this on, and I go to system and I choose the Express ELRS, now that should disappear. It's not bound now. I've had that issue earlier as well, and I shouldn't be binding that now again to bind to it, right? It's almost like it lost the bound thing. So just unplug that and then just do this power cycling again. So it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then bind. Okay, so it's bound now. So now, as you can see, there's the D-shot telemetry thing. So now if I add this back up, now that is gone. So now it's just because it's connected to the USB that it's not. So if I go to motors, I should be able to do something here, which I probably shouldn't be doing now. So I'm not going to do. Sorry, I'm pointing at this warning message here. Warning, risk of da 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 da. Okay, so it seems like I am making progress. I connected the drone to the controller and the drone to the goggles, and I've configured the drone with all of the things that I need to do, and I could disconnect or disable or overcome all of those warnings. I did not try to arm it, and I did not try to spin up the motors. So it seems like I'm basically at the point where I can just charge up batteries and go fly. One thing that I still experienced, and I don't know if it's me just doing things wrong, is I had to bind the controller to the drone multiple times. I've done it 3 times now already. So I think there is something not fishy going on, but me doing something stupid most likely, which I'll have to figure out. And but this was exciting. There's so many little things that happened, and I need to sit on my hands. It is 12:30 at night. Oh, and the date today is the 3rd of October. Well, it just ticked over to the 3rd of October at, yeah, 12:30 at night. Super excited. This weekend is a long weekend, upcoming long weekend, so I'm gonna go fly. Okay, so it's the next day, and my batteries came, so I've got way too many now. But anyway, that's not the point of this video. So the point of this video is I'm gonna do what I wanted to do yesterday, which I thought that I should not do. But I should learn, so I'm gonna give it a go. So quad's plugged in, I've got Betaflight open, and I'm about to test the motors, and I need to test them slightly. So I'm gonna plug in a battery and spin them up slowly, obviously, just to see that each of them actually spins and in the correct direction, obviously. But first, I'm going to do a quick refresher on this motor tab. So I'm going back to Joshua's video. Firstly, battery's not plugged in, and so the motors can't spin up. But if I enable this, these things should be enabled, which it is. Okay, so now obviously this should go up and down, or should be able to, and arrow up is slowly up and down, and page up is quick. Okay, cool. So let's do that. Turned off. Plug in a battery. Okay, battery's plugged in. Yes, my thingies aren't connected, I know. I'm gonna hold it down. Tiny quad, so it should be okay. Activate it. I'm clicking on this one, and I'm slowly gonna bring it up. Okay, that's interesting. Let's quickly go to setup. Volts is 7.6 volts, so it should still be okay. Motors. I understand. Click. Page up. And it spins. Woo. It spins. Okay, so back right spins. Front right can spin. Back left. Okay, and then this one. It's interesting that it sounds completely different, but okay. Anyway, so that's a test done, I'd say. They seem to be working. So that makes it, just unplugging this. So that makes it basically pretty much all systems go for tomorrow flight. Yeah, excited. So that's going to be a step forward.